What will home prices do in Northwest Arkansas next year? We're making some predictions. We're time traveling. We're looking in the data. We're trying to see what will happen next year in housing all around the area. So let's talk about that. Hey everybody, if you don't know who I am, my name is Phillip Shepard. I'm a local real estate agent located right here in Northwest Arkansas. Actually, I was a real estate broker located in the dumpster fire state, also known as Illinois, also known as Chicago. Don't go there, terrible place. I decided that I could move anywhere I wanted to in America, but I chose right here in Northwest Arkansas. So you're probably looking at a couple other places to move to. I looked at those places as well, but I chose right here in Northwest Arkansas for so many different reasons. If you ever want to meet up for coffee, talk about all those different reasons, let me know, text me, call me. We'll meet up when you're coming to the area and we'll talk about all the reasons why I chose Northwest Arkansas versus anywhere else in America. Also, if you haven't been down to Northwest Arkansas quite yet, I made something called the NWA Starter Pack. Sounds exactly what it is. It's literally a starter pack full of all the cool things Northwest Arkansas. What's going on in downtown Bentonville? What's going on in Fayetteville? What are the schools like? What are the hospitals like? What are all the things you need to know about Northwest Arkansas? Boop, 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 boop. Package shipped right to your home. Literally right to your home. Enter your name, enter your address below. I'll make sure they get that package shipped to you right away. Also, side note, it does come with your first free mountain bike, so that's pretty cool. And I know what you're thinking. It is my favorite four-letter F word. Free! So enter your information below. I'll make sure they get the package shipped to you right away. All right, so to intro this video just a little bit, we're gonna be diving into just a little bit of data. We're gonna be diving into predictions, and we're gonna be diving into obviously the potential future of what this is gonna look like. Now, with a big asterisk is that a lot of this is affected by interest rates. We're aware of this, inflation, blah, 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 all the fun words that we've been hearing for a year now. It does affect obviously mortgages quite a bit. It affects people moving and going across America. Now, the thing about this is that as interest rates come down and buyer enthusiasm goes up, prices will probably go with it, honestly. So just a little caveat. If you're looking to buy, just be aware that when interest rates do start coming down, enthusiasm across America will start rising when it comes to homeownership again, because they can obviously interest rates come down, the whole thing. And so what that means is that people can get out of homes and they can obviously move to Northwest Arkansas. So just be aware that if you do have the opportunity to move here before interest rates come down, that'd be golden, because it's gonna drive, I'm curious to see how it all shakes out with buyer enthusiasm across America and interest rates going down. We'll see. But long story short, I don't predict the future. I've only lived in the future. I'm a time traveler. That's a joke. But what I'm trying to do is say that there's a lot of things on the docket for things that could happen. The obviously going thought process is that interest rates will come down the next year or two, and then that will kind of bring things back to normality. But at the moment, it'll be interesting to talk about some of those predictions about each city and where I think where the growth is happening, plus some interesting areas that you may not have even heard of before. All right, and the first city we need to talk about when it comes to house pricing in the next year or so is going to be Bentonville. The crazy thing about Bentonville is that its growth, actually technically the growth height of like the growth of square footage jump happened about 2 years ago, maybe a year ago. So last year in 2022, the average price per square footage was actually $219. You're thinking like, oh my gosh, Phillip, it's gone up to $250 or $300 or $400, who knows what. But the average price per square foot is actually $220 now. So it only jumped by less than $1. So the crazy thing is that the big jump was actually a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, and it's kind of leveled out since then. Now, here's the difference is that downtown Bentonville, obviously that's a whole different animal. Crazy square footage price out there because downtown Bentonville is downtown Bentonville. We get that. But there's a lot of growth around Bentonville that is that average home size and style. And so a lot of those, that 220, excuse me, is just kind of like the average home price for a good solid home around Bentonville. Now, with all of that said, my prediction for Bentonville for next year is that it's probably going to stay the same. And why I say that is because there are major projects being developed. Nothing will really be completed next year. There's going to be still a lot of construction. The Alice Walton School of Medicine will not be finished. Walmart HQ will not be finished. A lot of the parks will not be finished. There's just the luxury hotels in downtown Bentonville. A lot of things will not be finished. Now, that's 2024. When we talk about 2025, all hands off deck in that year. But we're talking about 2024. I do not expect a huge price increase in Bentonville for next year. So obviously that's due to mostly interest rates and stuff of that nature. But big construction, all these things will be wrapping up 2025. Crystal Bridges, the expansion, all the museum, the whole thing. Long story short, I don't think next year Bentonville will see a huge price increase because interest rates will finally start putting more pressure on it and keeping it flatline, so to speak. but 2025 will be different. But 2024, don't see a huge price increase for Bentonville specifically. And the second city we're talking about is actually Rogers, working down the line. So last year, the price per square foot in Rogers was actually $193, and this is a little bit different than Bentonville because Bentonville kind of flatlined across the year. But the average price per square foot for Rogers, $193, and actually this year so far has been $203. So we've had almost a $10 per square foot jump. Anyways, with Rogers, the reason that you start seeing this larger price increase is because of the fact that in Rogers, there's not a huge amount of space to develop. Rogers isn't a sprawling area like Fayetteville or maybe potentially Bentonville. The interesting thing with Rogers is that a lot of the homes that are being built currently are honestly larger, more luxury homes near Pinnacle Hills. So if you're looking at the map of Rogers, if you look like south and southwest of Pinnacle Hills, which is a very luxurious, like probably the most expensive area in Northwest Arkansas, minus downtown Bentonville. But the most luxurious area in NWA is that Pinnacle Hills area with like the golf courses and the Walmart amphitheater and all the black and white stores, the more luxurious stores over in the actual like Promenade Mall. Anyways, a lot of those homes are being built up there, and those are very, very expensive homes, which kind of drives up the price of the per square foot. Now, if you go over to the east side of Rogers, there's not a lot of development space. It's usually like a lot of tear downs, you build up, blah, 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 you know what I'm saying? So you're not developing a lot on the west side, on the east side, a lot of development on the west side, and those are usually luxurious homes. But my prediction for next year is actually the price per square foot for Rogers will go up because there's a lot of developments happening that are more luxurious in Rogers, and they're going to be completed next year, which will probably drive up the price. We're talking luxury of meaning like fixings inside the homes itself, because that's what the market is kind of demanding. There's a lot of money being poured into downtown, the Pinnacle Hills area of Rogers, and homes of that magnitude will just follow. Hey, before I jump on to the next point, I have something brand new called Instant Home Updates. So maybe you're looking to move to the area and using things like Realtor.com, Zillow.com, or Redfin. Way too slow. Notifications? Way too slow. That's why I made something called Instant Home Updates. Sounds exactly what it is, Instant Home Updates. So enter your name below, enter your information below, square footage, bedrooms, bathrooms. Where do you want to move to Northwest Arkansas? Let me know with all the information below. I'll make sure to miss a single notification when it comes for homes for sale or for rent, all in Northwest Arkansas. Also, every single Friday, I send an email out just kind of talking about all the cool things in Northwest Arkansas. What's going on downtown Bentonville? When is First Fridays? When is First Thursdays? That's a little bit obvious. What's going on in Fayetteville? What new businesses are moving to Pinnacle? What's going on in downtown Rogers? What is going on at the Walmart amphitheater? So much going on all the time. So much. That's why I send an email out just kind of summarizing all the cool things happening every single Friday. Enter your name, enter your email below. I'll make sure you get that email every single Friday. But sadly, side note, you will get a little fear of missing out, little FOMO, so to speak. But I promise you will be the most informed person eventually when you make it down to Northwest Arkansas. And let's move on over to the third city, which is Springdale, of what do I predict that will happen in the housing market, housing pricing for 2024. Let's look back at the data for last year versus this year for Springdale. Last year's price per square foot was $181, and now in 2023 it's actually $184. So about a $3 jump. Comparison to like Bentonville's flatlining and Rogers' $10 jump, Springdale just increased a little bit. Now that's kind of a national average when it comes to 5 to 6%. So it kind of makes sense that falls into play. Rogers is a little different because it's a bigger increase. But I say all that to say that Springdale, what I do predict with Springdale is it's going to flatline again. And the reason being, it's going to probably stay the same. There might be a little bit of a jump, but not much. Maybe you might have another $3 or $4, $5 jump potentially. What's happening is that there's a lot of money being poured into Springdale downtown section. Now, what's the problem with the thing with that is that there's gonna be a lot of tear down and build back up when it comes to Springdale. And it's not always necessarily reflected in like the price per square foot, because it's like the property will sell for extremely low per square foot and then kind of maybe be built up. And so it doesn't reflect accurately. So what actually, there might be a slight decrease in Springdale pricing, because as these older homes or older commercial buildings or whatever the case is, gets bought out and redone, then you actually might see a decrease because of those reasons. Now, in the future, as they get built back up and they actually get redone and more luxurious of that nature, then you're going to probably see 2, 3, 4 years from now that probably a massive inswing of per square foot. Now, the reason of all that happening is that there's so much money being poured in downtown Springdale. So that's where those things are happening. Like Tyson and JB Hunt are building out their downtown Springdale to be very similar to downtown Bentonville. And you might start seeing the upswing in the next 3 years. You actually might see a downtick next year just due to homes being purchased at a cheaper square footage. And then next 3 to 4 years, you might see an upswing because of that actual initial investment now will actually be returned the year. So my prediction for Springdale next year is you're gonna be flatline, maybe a small increase, but realistically, you actually might see a little bit of a decrease just by these larger investors potentially buying up some of the per square footage in Springdale to revamp them and then sell them later or hold on to them in the next couple of years. And the fourth city we're gonna be talking about when it comes to housing pricing in 2024, we're talking about Fayetteville. Last year, the actual price per square foot was right under $200, and it was at $199.79, so $200. This year in 2023, it's actually jumped to $210. So we are seeing that 5% jump similar to what Rogers had the last year or so. And the reason being is because obviously Fayetteville continues to hit the most affordable housing, one of the most affordable housing in America. And so it's trying to, first of all, it's trying to keep that trend first off. And so there's a lot of building being happen in Fayetteville specifically. And on top of that, just with the publicity of Fayetteville specifically, that it draws so many people to the area based because they find housing very affordable here. Plus the city itself is just fantastic. So if you live in a fantastic area with an affordable house and find a unique area with trail systems and mountains and the whole kit and caboodle, Fayetteville really fits the bill there. But it's interesting because like Fayetteville has risen quite a bit in the last couple of years or so, and they're definitely going to struggle trying to maintain one of the most affordable places to live in America. That is on the docket to make sure that they're gonna have to fight for that. So we'll see how that shakes out in the future. But right now there's been a $10 increase from last year to this year. But one thing, if I had my prediction of Fayetteville, it's going to flatline. And the reason being is because they're going to want to try to keep housing affordable in Fayetteville because of that reason, because of the price per square foot. And the powers of B will make sure, as much as they can, to make sure that the price per square foot stays down, whether they cut red tape, whether they do this or do that. Whatever they do, they're going to want to make sure that they continue to hit the list for affordable housing in America. And I think that they're going to flatline into next year just based on that reason, plus interest rates, the whole thing. But I think Fayetteville will kind of flatline next year when it comes to price increase per square foot. And the last area we need to talk about is actually Bella Vista. We're going back up to the top there. So Bella Vista last year, the price per square foot was $187, and you see this massive increase to $189. So obviously that's not a jump at all. It's barely like a 1 to 2%. Like barely 1%. So Bella Vista increased a little bit, kind of flatlined for the sake of argument. So the question is why did this happen? And then maybe what's gonna happen in the future. But why does this happen is this because like obviously there's been a lot of builders building in Bella Vista these last 3 years, and a lot of the builds are finally coming to fruition this year, which raises competition. Now the thing about Bella Vista is that there's a lot of custom home builders there. There's not like builders like that just build like over and over and over again. There are some homes that they use, the plans get moved around a lot, but they have to adjust them based on land and the whole thing. So anyways, with Bella Vista is that it's kind of stayed the same because of competition. Land is very affordable there, so builders like to build there because of affordability of land. Like a empty lot might cost anywhere between like $10,000 at the cheapest for kind of like buildable land, all the way up to like 25 if it has sewer, maybe 30 tops for like a piece of flat ground. Anyways, kind of flatlined over in Bella Vista, but the question is what will happen in 2024? And my prediction is that square footage will actually go up because as more people move into the area, Bella Vista is kind of drawing a more, we'll say, distinct crowd. And what they're doing, what I've noticed builders, that they're leaning into more expensive homes with a higher price per square foot, which means that there's nicer fixings, more things of that nature inside the house itself, which draws usually I'm gonna say a 200 to 205 per square foot. Like the record was just set, I think like a couple months ago for like 246 per square foot in Bella Vista. So the price will definitely be different up and coming next year. I think the two factors that the audience, the buyers who are looking in Bella Vista want a higher cut home. And second fold is that Bella Vista is ratcheting down some of the requirements in Bella Vista for building, which means that it's going to be passed on usually to the home buyer itself. But in the same breath, the builders are expecting this, they're doing this, they're working with Bella Vista to make sure it's up to the code of Bella Vista, which will raise the price a little bit, but at the same time, the home quality will go up as well, with like the quality of a sense of like what people are looking for when it comes to homes in Bella Vista. All right, that's all I have for you guys today. Again, if you are thinking about coming down to Northwest Arkansas, download my 3-day itineraries link below. Maybe you're a adventurer, maybe you're a sports person, maybe you're a foodie, maybe you're a sightseer, maybe you have kids, whatever it is. There's a 3-day itinerary link down below, so go ahead and download them and use them to get down here. Also, when you do come down here, I can give you the $10 tour so I can kind of show you around the whole area. Plus, we can check out some homes for sale or for rent and see how far your dollar will go in Northeast Arkansas compared to where you're coming from. All right, guys, let's see the next one.